Hello, hello. Good morning. Nice to see you, Alyssa. I am back once again on I don't know, a slightly unusual time, I guess. I wound up taking the Monday of my birthday off. Hello, Lala. Good morning. So I took this as a long weekend, so I actually am around today, and then I think it's work, work, work until closer to Christmas. So there's that, but I thought we could just get into our Advent today and see what we have. I may pop in around noon my time, so whenever the mail gets here, because I got at least one lingering card. I got one lingering package, and and I think a card is coming. So, well, several cards are coming. So we may pop in to look at those a little bit later. Um, and if any Black Friday gifts to myself show up, we shall see. But let's see what the Advent looks like today. And these are the two projects we made yesterday. This was from the day 10 advent calendar. We got this interesting sort of box. We also got the top to this box and a bunch of other um, confetti like things. So I feel like this would be a good like color practice set too, because there's all these little things and you could color them in if you wanted to. I just sort of overstamped them once I did the box, but you know, and then we put some red on the back so to make it more of a stable tag. And you could definitely punch a hole in this and use it as like a real tag and then write something on the back. Although this is pearlescent cardstock, so I guess you'd probably use a marker. And then on our Sunday lives, we made this fun little card using Lynn's new stamp set, some holographic cardstock on the sentiment, and basically all these are cat scrappiness products that I happen to have on hand but hadn't broken into yet. There's also a last minute holiday hop from them on Instagram on the 14th, I believe. Either the 14th or the 15th. I'll spam something out when that happens. And let me see. Y'all are saying hello to each other, which I always like. I feel like this advent calendar is still keeping me very happy because I don't know what we have today, but we got a full stamp set, a big ephemera pack, sentiments, stencils, the mechanism die. I'm not remembering what we got day 6. We got oh, I think we got the Christmas paper and the sentiments in here, and then we also got the other paper. And then on day 10 and yesterday we got a whole nother stamp set. So we've gotten two stamp sets, two die sets, and a stencil so far. So I think we're doing pretty well considering we're not even quite at the halfway point yet. So let me pull out day 11. Day 11 is the same color as day 6. And just to remember what we got on day 6. Oh, day 6 was these sentiments and papers and stuff. So I'll leave day 6 out as some of the designers in this particular calendar have tried to coordinate their stuff so it all goes together. I'm actually two craft stash videos behind. I want to really see what intention was for the animal print pattern that we got, which was very we made a really cool tag out of it. We made this tag out of that one. But I don't know, it wasn't expected. So we'll see if today is expected. I see more dies. I think these coordinate with the surprise card dies for sure. We have some sprigs, which I like the looks of. Then we have a flower, a couple flowers. These don't look to be layering flowers, but it looks like I'm guessing that'll be the center for that flower. So I think we can do just sort of a pretty straightforward floral card. The nice thing is these are all small dies, so they can all go in the sidekick, which will be nice. But let me see. What do I need? I don't have. Well, we can use. These aren't really Christmas florals, so I may reach into my stash and grab a coordinating sort of dye of some sort. I definitely want a green and probably some colors for the flower. What do I have in front of me? I have a nice pink here. I think this would be a good flower color. Um, kind of want a yellow or something. Oh, there's a nice blue that might coordinate. I'm just looking at stuff that's in my scrap pile. So I'm thinking these might be nice for the flower piece. We definitely need some kind of green. I have not very much teal left. I wonder how this would look with teal. I feel like the pink and teal works. I think I would go with a more pastel blue. Let's see what else we got. Oh, we have a nice navy. I think, except that's black. It's not navy. So a very nice purple that I might use as the base. But I feel like these pastels would pop better on a dark color. We could also just use the teal for the flower centers, but let's see what else we got. We may use the teal because I just found another piece of it. So let's see how that looks together. Oh yes, and I said we need sentiment. What have we got in? Oh, I think we could use the graphic 45 one. We unboxed these yesterday. I'm thinking this "You're My Favorite" would be kind of a fun sentiment. Although, how are we going to? We'll have to think about how we would. We could put that on a sentiment strip. Let me see if I have. I might go for something even more generic. What do we have? We have cats, which are really helpful at the moment. We have a lot of ephemera. Oh, we have some fun. Oh, let's use this set. I haven't used this one that much. Uh, I feel like we could use one of these on. We can just stamp it on white. But let's see. I think just a big hello would be nice with sort of the flowers. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think we can get away with stamping it directly on purple. So maybe since we're going to use the. Well, I have some white here. Actually, that's not white. I have this pattern paper that I keep thinking is white. Here is some white. This is white. This is not even coloring paper fancy white. So I think we could. I like the hello sentiment. I think we could do that and cut it out and then pop it up and maybe ink edge it with a little bit of our teal. Anyway, oh hey Lewis, how are you? How you? I hope you have a great day too. Lewis is a friend of mine from when I was really into fitness. Well, I mean, I still kind of am, but like when I was doing it for the first time, we were friends. Because we were both kind of friends of a dude who ran a clothing brand that he made himself, and he's since retired to have a kids. But anyway, I'm actually wearing the hoodie, so it's funny how these things work out. Anyway, but if you're in Florida, he runs a gym in the Tampa area, and he's a super awesome dude, and has a background in mental health as well. Since I know some of my friends are in Florida, I am not, unfortunately. Do I want to cut this down? Probably. I probably want to cut it down if I knew where I put my paper trimmer. There it is. You think with like four of these, I wouldn't lose them in my house, but I think this seems about right. I don't know. We'll see. Does this look good for the hello? It's a little much. Let's more like this. We were all just complaining about how winter is winter. Yeah, I like it. That's a good size. See what 3 inches looks like. Yeah, I think that'll work. I agree. I'm glad that Lynn went with like a more generic thing, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel like a cup could be utilized with almost any card. Like, it's a pretty, like both because almost everybody has cups or likes a beverage of some sort. I feel like I like it when people do things that you could get a lot of use out of. Hey, Belle. Welcome, welcome. We were making a little hello card with, we got these new florals to play with. Um, I feel like you could utilize these. If you remember when we got that mechanism thing a few weeks back, we also, or a few days ago, yeah, a few weeks. I don't know. I feel like live streaming every day. It seems like time passes more slowly than it does in your mind. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so when we were doing that, we got some florals. As you see, like there's a little speckle, and that's just probably based on this being a new stamp and it not getting ink stuck to it everywhere. Basically, when these clear plastic stamps are manufactured, generally there's some residue from manufacturing. And here we go. Now we got a much more saturated look. Wow, that's really cool. That's going to look really good against this because it's almost a darker tone of the same thing, which is always nice when that happens. Anyway, we were debating on the latte card if it was intentional or not. So I'm going to go with, I'm not sure, but I'll go with no. I think it might have just been a new stamp. Um, and if that's a thing that bugs you, if you would prefer to have it just work, people either rub with their fingers or they'll rub with a cloth or something just to try and get any manufacturing residue off. Put that back. I'm trying to be better about putting my stamps back so I don't lose them. Although I always kind of wind up leaving ones I use all the time in my stamp positioner, like this Warm Winter Wishes. 'Cause I know I'm gonna take this. Oh, paper trimmer down. Nobody was hurt though. Luckily the cats were elsewhere. And the blade wasn't exposed. That also helps. Let me see. Here are my corner rounders. So let's just round this guy off a little bit. Then we can get to die cutting the rest. This is pretty big, so I think I'll go with the half-inch side. Also is a quarter inch. I don't own them. There are a bunch of other ones of these that do fancier corners than what I'm doing. There's one that does like photo corners too. I don't think I need to ink edge that just because this teal is turned out to not be the same color as the other teal. So I don't really need to pull it in because it's the same color. What do we need? Need the baby, and we probably need to cut down this pink a little bit. And I need to goo gone my scissors because they are full of goo, but not the good scissors, luckily. Let me see if I am missing things. Yeah, I don't know. I actually like this packaging a lot because they're packaged on a much thicker type of acetate. I kind of I forget who makes it, but someone actually like makes thicker acetate on purpose for not for this, but more for times like if you're using them to sort of pop up something um, where you need something a little more strong. The only downside is like when they package things on double-sided tape, it can be really hard to get the tape unstuck, which is what we're running into right now. There we go. I do kind of like that these are sort of, I don't know, they're flowers, but it's not entirely clear what type of flower they are, so that kind of makes it a little bit nicer. I'm thinking we probably need three of them because I like odd numbers. You could also do probably do one, but that really wouldn't be quite as nice. I might go for a fourth one just because I have room on this scrap, and I'm probably not going to use the scrap for anything else. Then we can just sort of save it for. Do I have space for that? I can't get one last one out of it. Yeah, I don't think I can. I was saying to Lala, I don't know if you guys caught her stream yesterday, but I forget the guy's name, but she was says doing a stream with an illustrator, and he's released a calendar that they were coloring, which looks pretty cool. So I hope to see them do like physical coloring at some point. I mean, I find digital coloring really interesting too, but I don't know. I as probably previously mentioned here, I like to do physical art just because I do so much stuff in the computer realm as like part of my job. So I find doing stuff that isn't in the computer realm a lot more relaxing. I think I'm going to need to do two of these, but I think we can get our little flower centers out of this one. But I may need to cruise over to the art store or the craft store today. I'm curious if I can find a watercolor paper that I can run through my laser printer. Because some of the like more student grady papers probably are better for that because you know, they're not you're not going to be as thick, which makes it easier to work with. Ooh, I like that color. Um, what we could actually do is grab this and grab our ink grab something so I'm not going to wreck myself. But I think what we can do is just sort of take some ink to paper here to make this a little bit darker, and then we can run through the centers again and get a slightly darker center that then is like the same color as the sentiment, which will be kind of fun. The other thing we could potentially do is grab our teal marker that's to my right and color this up a little bit just to add a little more dimension to this die cut. So I think both of those things would be kind of fun. And this is more of a, it looks like this leaf is more of a leaf, and the other leaf is more of a sprig. So I think we'll do two of these and then three of the ones that are more of a sprig since we have three flowers. Unless we lost flower, unless we're a flower down. We may be a flower down. Oh well, I guess it's gonna be that kind of day again. Or But we can see if we like this color or not. So that this is kind of how this would map out, which I like. I like that when you do ink to paper, it's never going to be quite perfect, which I think is kind of nice in this context. Whoop, there we go. So that's kind of how the flower would go together. And then then I think then we can do a little something to that, but I think that looks a little nicer than the base color. What do you guys think? Do you like it more saturated or do you like sort of the more everything is pastel kind of vibe? I am curious. You have a floral preference. Yeah, I run into that too. That was actually a big motivator for getting a Cricut in the first place was that, since it's digital, it seems like you do that less. But yes, I found it very easy to lose bits and pieces, especially on like an intricate die, and especially if you aren't um magneting it to like a magnet board so that you can protect it. There's one more, and then I'll get a third one. Although now that I'm thinking about it, we could just do a single flower and then the other things I talked about. And then what we could do is we could do a little coloring on the single flower. There we go. So let's see how that would look. I need some more green, that's for sure. So let's punch out a few more sprigs. Put our little piece back. Because like these are the pieces that I would lose quickly. It hasn't happened, but I'm always afraid of doing that with like waffle flower dies just because they'll often have so many little intricate pieces. And then here, even though it's like the not less pretty side of the die, you can flip this around to kind of get to. The other thing you could do is just leave them like this. And then sort of like with the other card, what you can do is sort of hide all the stems under the sort of under your sentiment once we get to the point of putting an actual card together. Um, let's do the technique we did on the flowers again and see if we can't do that on the stems. Let me see if I can find something that is wherever I put my junk paper. I'd rather not get ink completely all over my desk. I'm sure we can probably grab some packaging material too from one of our. Oh, we can use the Echo Park catalog, which they nicely provided us. I haven't tried their card kits. I'm curious if I would like them or not. I'm just gonna go in a little lighter this time, except that didn't happen. But that'll give us sort of a neat variegated look, I think. So mistakes are sometimes helpful with stuff like that. And I think I'm gonna sort of leverage the sort of variegatedness or splotchiness or whatever you want to call it here to our advantage. The one downside to having a Tim Holtz one of these is like it's really easy to lose on your desk because it's black. But anywho, oh, Thank you. I feel like I've been doing a lot of pink and teal lately, and not by design really, but like just because the stuff that I happen to have worked really well with that particular color palette. Uh, and I like the way these dies are designed because they're not hard to poke out. Like you don't need the super delicate pokey tool. Although someone was nice enough to gift me one on Elizabeth's birthday stream on the 7th, so I'm getting a fancy pokey tool at some point. But today we do not have one, so we will use what we have, which is always a good option too. So let's cut a card panel. What am I doing even? Here we go. I don't think we need to die cut, but the one thing I like about the sidekick a lot is I can just leave it on my desk and it's not like huge. This is some really nice. This is actually Simon Says stamp. I forget what it's called, but it's whatever their royal purple is called. I picked it up a couple years ago because one of my in real life friends like absolutely loves purple. So generally the idea here is like we're gonna we'll assemble our flower, do something like that, and then probably I like the idea of these frond thingies kind of behind it to add a little more layering. Maybe move this whole thing up a little bit. Assume this wasn't lined up in some way, but then I think what we can do is just bring in the hello here, and then we can use one of those dark pink card bases, I think, and the whole thing will look good. Um, I'll probably want to put a piece of cardstock on the bottom of the hello, just because these piled up is kind of a little bit of an extra layer. And if you don't do that, it doesn't really warp it, but it looks a little bit off. So I was thinking is we could use one of these guys because I feel like this works fairly nicely with the purple. I think this color palette is going to be kind of fun together. See if I'm missing things, you guys. Yeah, you can. And I know that a lot of people like to color on so the Dollar Tree or Dollar General sells acrylic cutting board, or not cutting boards, but acrylic clipboards that you can use as well. I've also used mats like this. Dollar Tree sells small ones. Or I should say mats like the one that's on top here, which is just a cutting mat. Um, The other thing I know people will use is if you get a sticky mat, either if you go on Amazon and buy the knockoff cricket mats, um, in whatever grip strength you prefer, those can be used as well. Because small things like this are going to move around when you try to color them, but if you have like a lightly sticky mat, you can just stick them down. And then if you want to color these once they're die cuts, you get a similar look as like this one, right? Where you've got sort of this variance. Sorry, that's not the color isn't quite reading through here as much as I would like, but you wind up kind of with some nice variants on that. And I just figured, and I just learned that my beloved line co apparently you can use on like embellishments too, which is nice because it's the glue I would use all the time on paper because it gives you not much it grabs really quickly, but it also this card base isn't exactly straight. Let me see if there's a straighter card base. Where I'm sure we have a one that's actually lined up. Here we go. That one's actually lined up. I think that's actually a slightly different color. I don't know how in the neutrals pack I wound up with like four different pink colored card bases. I mean, other than people probably use them a lot because it's a very like springy kind of color. The nice thing about this Simon Says stamp cardstock though is because it's really thick, like you don't have to worry about the glue warping anything, and it is going to add some nice weight to the front of this card. So then we just have to sort of, I think I'm going to put the flower together first, but this all becomes a lot easier. gonna put a little dollop. It's not gonna take much because we're just gluing paper to paper. And then uh I have kind of a gummy. I this is there. This came with two kinds of wax. This is the gummier one because I accidentally broke the original one that came with my jewel picker. Allegedly. Oh, Sprinkle is here. No, I'm not. This is kind of a weird one-off because I wound up having the day off, but I'm often live at this hour on weekends because it's a nice sort of time before the day sort of kicks off. Yeah, my advent calendar one is weird. I'm usually live more in the evenings for me and the mornings for you guys. I think Sprinkle is. Oh, is Alicia live? Okay, I will once I wrap up I will join you over there cuz Alicia's been doing which is Bella, if you want to drop Alicia's link, it's Call Me Crafty Al on YouTube and she is a fantastic card maker. She's much more of a process card maker as you guys probably notice. I'm a little more of a do whatever kind of person. I just wing it more. Alicia is really nice because she's always been she prefers more of a methodical card making style, which is kind of fun, especially when you sort of mix it with advents where you don't know what's in them. So I'm gonna definitely want this to be kind of in the center and semi lined up. Obviously, the nice part about this foliage is it's um, I don't know, it's got enough movement in it that like you're not gonna really notice. And I forgot to put the foliage behind here. So we will just change this up a little bit. I think this will work. Again, I'm not really concerned about what's going on with the stems because I'm going to cover them up anyway. And then this one can just go like this. I'm going to try and make sure that like whatever I do that the border around here is pretty much the same, but everything else can just sort of go wherever. Because if you look at plants, and if you go and like take reference photos of plants or look at plants in real life, like no two plants are really the same. So like having flowers that look perfectly even is kind of unnecessary from like a botanical standpoint. Um, which is actually something I like to do. Like I think going out into like nature and taking pictures of things like flowers is kind of a helpful thing to do, especially if you want to use them in your cards. And then this will just go here, and we're pretty close to being done. Except I think I'll come in here. This is and grab this guy. This is a glitter brush pen that you absolutely want to make sure is like pliable before you start trying to use it on your card. There we go. I think it's similar in fashion to sort of like a Wink of Stella kind of a thing. But what I'm just going to go in here and do is just glitter the flower a little bit to just sort of make it pop a little bit here. Now, this is going to look really wet right now, but this I think is an alcohol base or something like that. It dries really fast. So when this dries, it will lighten up. As you can see, like on the bottom here, it's already happening. But that'll just give us a little glitter stuff. I like the clear one of these because then you only really need to own one. And allegedly, if they leak, it can be a real pain to clean up the ones that are not clear because they make them kind of in, you know, a rainbow of colors. So I'm just grabbing some scrap, and doesn't really have to be white. But what I want to do is just pop this up a little bit, and then our card will be mostly together. And here you can see how where we first put the glitter, it's already pretty well done. Well, not done, but like it's pretty much. dry. In dry, it's gonna look more like paint, like the actual color, but just a little bit lighter. And then we can just do this. And I will. Let's try to use, if I can find it. I actually have one of these fancy schmancy tea rulers that I think is meant to allow you to get your sentiments even. This has sort of a, if I turn it around, it's got sort of a flat side and a not flat side, but the idea here is if you can basically use this and then it's a lot easier to get your sentiments square, especially if you're direct stamping. Just gonna get a little glue on the back. Again, we don't need like a ton here. We just need it to more or less be correct. We want to pop it up a little bit, and that's a little left. I think that looks good. Then we can sort of bring this in here and say like, whoops. Well, probably not like that, but ideally you would sort of use this to help you align it. And I think that looks pretty good. Although I'll just shift this a little bit and then apply some pressure to make sure the glue adheres. I'm just sort of squeegeeing this out with my fingers. If you prefer to use an implement for that, that would work too. Oh, Cindy is here. Hello, Cindy. Welcome. One might even say hello. Just to catch you up, we got this kind of, well, you can't see it at all because I don't have anything behind it. Here we go. We got this neat die set that's looks like it goes with the dies we got in the that time we got that positioning pop-up piece, because those were sort of floral dies too. But there were a bunch of really small floral dies, not really small, but relatively small. So you could make sort of any flower you wanted. I used the largest flower and sort of the middle piece to do this. So I can straighten up my desk. Been advised Crafty L is live right now, so I'll let you see what the final card looks like. Oops, I didn't say hello to you, Cindy. Hello, Cindy. How are you? Oh, also, someone in one of my other lives had said that like the scrolling stuff was really distracting and may trigger people's migraines. So I turned off the scrolling. But anytime you need descriptions, things are in the box below. As you can see, the flower has mostly dried here. So this is sort of what the final look will be. It'll still be pink. It'll just look like there's it's a little kiss with glitter. So these are all today's dies. This is a hello sentiment from my stash. It's from Sunny Lane, which is a scrapbook.com release of, I think, last summer. But it has a lot of hello and love and a lot of stuff in sort of this 60s, 70s kind of curvy font. And I think we could I may go back and use this extra flower we cut just on the inside in the corner here. So I'll probably do that. But that is what I have for you today. If you are interested in seeing more Crafty Lives, I'd encourage you to bounce over to Call Me Crafty Al's live because I think she went live at 9:30, so she should be just getting into whatever project she's doing today. Um, I'll probably be live in the evening my time next tomorrow, unless I decide to do like a birthday wrap up round two because I saw that there were some cards coming in the mail. So anyway, it's great to see you guys. I hope that I see you again in the future. And generally, when not in Advent season, my normal lives are 6 p.m. Sundays Central Time, which is sometime in your part of the world. I think it turns into the morning, the fairly early morning in Asia, and sort of in the middle of the night in Europe. So, anyway, it's great talking to you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And I will talk to you guys next time.